In a charming suburban neighborhood filled with white picket fences and manicured lawns, there was one household that stood out not for its grandeur, but for the vibrant personality of its live-in maid, Hazel Burke. Hazel was more than just a maid, she was a whirlwind of energy, wisdom, and a heart full of gold. Hazel worked for the Baxter family, which consisted of George Baxter, a highly successful lawyer, his lovely wife Dorothy, and their young son Harold. Though George often found himself bewildered by Hazel's bold and straightforward ways, he couldn't deny that she had a knack for solving problems in the most ingenious ways. One sunny morning, as George prepared for an important court case, chaos erupted in the Baxter household. Harold had a school science project due, but his model volcano had inexplicably malfunctioned. Dorothy was preoccupied with organizing a neighborhood charity event, leaving George to juggle his legal documents and Harold's volcanic crisis. Just as George was about to lose his cool, Hazel swooped in, her eyes twinkling with determination. "Don't you worry, Mr. B," Hazel said with a reassuring smile. "I'll have this volcano spitting lava in no time." With her typical resourcefulness, Hazel quickly gathered baking soda, vinegar, and food coloring, transforming the kitchen into a mini science lab. Harold watched in awe as Hazel expertly mixed the ingredients, creating a bubbling, colorful eruption that was nothing short of spectacular. Harold's project was saved, and he couldn't wait to show it off at school. Meanwhile, in the living room, Dorothy was frantically trying to finalize details for the charity event. Seeing her distress, Hazel once again donned her problem-solving hat. She took charge of the event's organization, coordinating volunteers, arranging decorations, and even whipping up her famous chocolate chip cookies to sell at the bake sale. By the time the event kicked off, everything was running smoothly, and Dorothy was able to relax and enjoy the festivities. As for George, he arrived at court well prepared and calm, thanks to Hazel's timely assistance with his documents earlier in the day. His case was a success, and he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude towards Hazel. That evening, as the Baxters gathered for dinner, they all reflected on how Hazel had once again turned a day of potential disasters into one of triumphs and laughter. George raised his glass in a toast. "To Hazel," he said. "Our very own miracle worker." Hazel blushed, waving off the praise with a modest shrug. "Just doing my job, Mr. B," she said with a warm smile. "But I'll never say no to one of your toasts." The Baxter family knew that they were truly fortunate to have Hazel in their lives. Her unwavering loyalty, her clever solutions, and her boundless kindness made her more than just their maid, she was the heart of their home. One bright Saturday morning, the Baxters' peaceful routine was interrupted by an unexpected visit from none other than Dennis Mitchell, the mischievous yet lovable neighbor from down the street, along with his dog, Ruff. Dennis was known for his innocent troublemaking and boundless energy, which often left his parents, Henry and Alice, exasperated. "Hey, Mrs. B, can I come in?" Dennis called out, his voice full of excitement. "I brought Ruff too." Hazel greeted Dennis with a smile. "Of course, Dennis. What brings you over today?" Dennis grinned and held up a small, scrappy comic book. "I wanted to show Harold my new comic. It's got superheroes, aliens, and everything." Harold's eyes lit up with excitement, and the two boys immediately dashed off to Harold's room, leaving Ruff to wander around the house. As Hazel returned to the kitchen, she heard a series of loud crashes followed by Dennis' voice shouting, "Sorry, Mr. B. It was an accident." George hurried to the living room, only to find Ruff happily chewing on one of his legal briefs. Hazel quickly assessed the situation, and, with her usual flair, managed to redirect Ruff's attention to a toy. "Goodness, Dennis, you sure know how to make an entrance," Hazel said with a chuckle. Dennis shrugged sheepishly. "It's kind of my thing, Mrs. B." Despite the chaos, the Baxters couldn't help but be charmed by Dennis and his boundless enthusiasm. Over the course of the day, Dennis, Harold, and Ruff brought a whirlwind of laughter and minor mishaps to the Baxter household. From a toppled vase to a spilled tray of cookies, every incident was met with Hazel's quick thinking and warm sense of humor. By the end of the day, the house was a mess, but everyone was smiling. George, Dorothy, Hazel, and the children gathered in the living room, sharing stories and enjoying the company of their unexpected guests. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the neighborhood, Hazel looked around at the happy faces and felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Life with the Baxters and their friends was anything but